Total Drama Island. There we go, I just triggered some nostalgic flashbacks for you all, and I hope you enjoy. Total Drama Island was one of those smash hit shows that I don't think anybody saw coming, even the creators. They'd been making 16 for a while, and yeah, that was well liked by a ton of people, but the way that the Total Drama series took off was massive. Even to this day with Total Drama Rama and whatnot, it's still extremely popular over here in America. And it all started with Total Drama Island, the very first season, which is why it started off with it, of course. The characters were lovable, the situations were both realistic and wacky, and it kept you on the edge of your seat throughout most of the run. However, just like every show out there, it wasn't perfect. It had a few bumps here and there, whether it be some animation errors or some inconsistencies, or the subject for today, a bad episode. This is Phobia Factor, and today I'm gonna explain why I think this is the worst episode of Total Drama Island. First off, let's get one thing straight here. The concept for this is really good. Chris, being the sadist that he is, would naturally want all the remaining contestants to experience their worst fears and exploit it for laughs. The way that they bring the fears up is also really natural. It starts with DJ freaking out about a gummy worm thinking that it's a snake. See, Raleigh Jefferson? This is how to be afraid of a gummy worm. Then Tyler tries to console him by telling him he's afraid of chickens, and then as Gwen says, everyone goes into this big share fest. Even proud people like Heather or Lashana willingly give up their biggest fears. This is good. We see a lot of interactions with some characters that really haven't gotten to talk to each other because they're on opposing teams. Everyone gets a little bit of a spotlight here. But this is where the good stuff ends. When the challenge starts, the problems arise. This challenge makes no sense. It's extremely inconsistent, which again, was the biggest thing to go against Total Drama Island. Although that was plot inconsistencies, this is the rules of the game. Everyone gives the bike race a lot of flack because the rules there were a bit ambiguous and messed up. But Phobia Factor takes the cake. Let me explain. Harold's biggest fear is ninjas, right? So a bunch of ninjas ambush him in the bathroom, and Harold stands up to fight them, but then knocks himself out. This counts as him wimping out and not standing up to his fear. Even though he did. He tried to fight them, he didn't win, but he at least tried. That counts as standing up in my book. Well, okay, maybe the rules are a little bit strict here. Well, no, because Heather's fear is a sumo wrestler. She gets up on the stage and the wrestler charges at her. She has a panic attack, ducks down, and this causes the sumo wrestler to trip and fall, causing her to, I guess, beat him, and this counts as standing up to her fear. Even though she didn't. She wimped out. Harold was the one to stand up to his fear, not Heather, so why does she get the point and he doesn't? Similar with Tyler. The aim of the challenge wasn't touch the chicken or pet the chicken, it was get in the pen with the chicken. Sure, he was kind of in a fetal position and it was a bit pathetic, but he was still in there. And even when Duncan say, hug the Celine Dion music store standee, or when Gwen was being buried alive, they were still freaking out like that too. So why is Tyler any different? And he got two options to face his fear too. Both with the pen and with Chef giving him the deep fried chicken. Also, what about Jeff? His fear was hail, so Chris gets a remote-controlled cloud to pelt him with hail. How do you consider him standing up to it? Is it him taking the hail, which would basically mean him getting obliterated with ice? I don't understand. Then there's Cody, who absolutely did stand up to his fear, but still didn't get the point. His fear was defusing a time bomb, so Chris got an actual time bomb made out of garbage, but still a real time bomb, for Cody to defuse. And he did! He didn't scream, he didn't freak out, he didn't abandon his post once. But he still didn't get the point because it blew up. Again, the challenge is face your fear, not defeat your fear. Then there's also the fact that there's a massive advantage for people with, let's say, easier fears. Hail is actually deadly. It can kill you. especially if it's really close to you like it was for Jeff. He could have died. Cody also could have died if the shrapnel got anywhere near his throat or chest or head. If Gwen was left underground for too long, she could have suffocated and died. Meanwhile, all Duncan has to do is hug a cardboard standee. All DJ has to do is touch a tiny little snake. Yeah, not a giant big cobra or python, just a little tiny worm. And all Lindsay and Sadie have to do is wear wigs. That one always bothered me, even when I was a kid. Their fears are bad haircuts, but they're not getting bad haircuts. They're wearing wigs. How is that bad, even to someone who's really vain and superficial, like, say, Heather, for instance? Would she mind wearing a wig like this? Well, considering the fact that she does for Total Drama Action, I would say no. But this isn't a challenge. The real challenge would be to have them sit down in a chair, Chef gets the razor, and gives them a reverse mohawk. That would be facing your fear, because it's something tangible, and on par with, say, a time bomb. At least to two girls who love fashion and looks. And of course, there's also the fact that some of these people have an easy out, and some people have no going back. Owen and Izzy, as soon as they make their decision to go into the plane, it's over. They can't leave. They jump out, they go splat, and die. And they were screaming, freaking out the whole way, but they still got the points. How? That's not conquering or facing your fear at all. That's letting it win, but I've touched on that enough. Let's keep going. Now let's get to the biggest thing that bothers me here, the elimination. The Killer Bass lose this challenge because Courtney, who up until now was absolutely refusing to admit that she was afraid of green jelly, finally gets called out for it by Chris. And her challenge is to go off of a high dive into a pool of green jelly. Yes, that's her fear. We've seen dumb things like Celine Dion music store standees or chickens, but she's afraid of green jello. And she can't do it. She bails, causing the Killer Bass to lose. So it's only natural that the person who goes home is Tyler. Why? Courtney's the one that cost them the challenge. Courtney's the one that had the dumbest fear out of all of them. At least the Celine Dion music store standee could give you a paper cut, or at least a chicken can peck you. What could green jello do to you? Ah, it's made out of hooves, ugh! So then Tyler is sent home. And again, why? He didn't cost anybody anything. He didn't do anything to anger the team. The closest he did was yelling at Duncan to get his head in the game when he wasn't wanting to hug the Celine Dion music store standee. But I do have a fix to this. I know it's way too late and this might seem a little fanficky, but I do have an idea. See, in order for me to explain, we have to go back to the previous episode, the Sucky Outdoors. Here, Katie and Sadie got lost during the Wilderness Campout Challenge, causing the Killer Bass to lose, and Katie went home. Sadie was completely distraught. She didn't know how to carry on without her best buddy. In fact, that's how Phobia Factor starts. The very first second after the theme song is Bridget consoling a heartbroken Sadie. And all of a sudden, the next day, that's dropped. And she doesn't get upset about Katie ever again, which I found really strange. What if, instead of Tyler going home, it was Sadie? Because I know why they kept Courtney. We had to keep the Duncan and Courtney thing going and she's important to the plot, yeah, I get it. But Sadie isn't important to the plot. What if she quit, saying she couldn't be without Katie? And hey, maybe Courtney could be spared or Tyler could be spared, that doesn't matter. And then Tyler stays around, doing exactly what Sadie did, being nothing, not talking, not really contributing, and just kind of being there, as he was constantly harassed for in Total Drama World Tour. Then, when we get to the Trust Challenge, this is where Tyler goes home. I always found it a bit forced that Sadie was voted off because she pelted Courtney with apples. It always seemed like a way for the writers to say, oh wait, Sadie's still here, we'd better get rid of her, quickly, please. Wouldn't it make more sense for Tyler, the guy who is the uncoordinated, self-absorbed, I think I'm the best guy ever jock, to say something like, hey, let me shoot the apples, I'm a good aim! This is the guy who thought he could win the dodgeball competition all by himself, even though the only people he ever hit were Sadie, who was on his own team, and his girlfriend. Yikes. So that's my idea on how to fix it, but Again, it's too late for that. This episode's been out for over a decade. And I will say that even though it's really disjointed and broken, Phobia Factor does have some good elements to it. Like I said, the cast gets to talk a lot with people they don't normally see. We get some good Duncan and Courtney moments. Learning about the castmates' fears kind of helps us learn a bit more about them. And it is a fun episode, admittedly, but critically speaking, it's really broken. But one bad episode isn't going to taint how I feel about this series. Total Drama Island really was something special. Maybe I'll talk about some of the other seasons someday, maybe not. But until then, everyone enjoy your evening. You're safe. Or tonight. Well folks, thanks for watching the video. What'd you guys think of it? What do you think of Phobia Factor? And who's your favorite contestant? Comment below and let me know because I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you guys next time.